to the person that has felt the hurt for whatever the reason, and you say, I'm really sorry that you feel hurt by that. Will you forgive me? And let's reconcile. And the person still refuses. So, but you still have those feelings. How do you deal with that? If you could help me with that, thank you.
Yes, that we actually, yes, this is one of the areas I love to teach about. And again, it's a whole other conference. We actually minister on this a lot, but that is the soul and the spirit. When the soul is wounded, and emotions and soul are there, as Christians, we are taught to push down and go into denial. Everything is well. Forgiveness is one of those. You forgive, you forget, it's over. That's it. Forgive, you forget. It's done. You know? And lots of times people come around and saying, well, I'm trying to forgive, but I keep taking it back. You know, how can I really forgive? How can I really let it go? You know, because I keep taking it back. You know, and the other part, the problem is, when the soul is wounded, the soul needs to heal. The healing of the soul is different than the spirit side. Prayer takes care of the spirit side, the name of Jesus has power. But soul is mind, will, and emotions, and we need to help heal our soul. You see, and these emotions stay there. Emotions actually stay in your soul, and they accumulate, and then they come back up later as traumas, as post-traumatic syndromes, as breakdowns, as anxieties, as depressions, as sickness, all kinds of things, because emotions have to be released, or else they will actually hurt you. But as Christians, we don't do that. Just let it go, it's fine, it is over. And we push it down, and push it down, and push it down. It's very, very common. I'm a trained counselor, and it's a very common thing that we deal with in this. You know, but we have to learn to empty our soul, to release our soul and to empty it out, because it will start clogging us inside. And when the soul starts getting clogged inside, then we have a problem, because it will start blocking everything. And our spiritual life will get stunted as well, and our body will suffer and get sick. So learning to release the emotions, to empty the emotions is really, really, really important. And you know, let's talk in the areas of forgiveness in this, you know, because it is very common. There is, like I said, most Christian belief is, you forgive, you forget, it is over. Well, that's it, move on, it is over. However, many people live in prison because of that. Because you are still there, and then you see the person and you feel everything arising again. You remember what has been done to you, you remember the incident, and everything arises again. You see, and then guilt comes, condemnation comes. How come I cannot let it go? How come I keep taking it back? How come I can't really forgive? And those thoughts start running, and then you talk to people and say, you know, and they say, we just forgive and let it go. Yeah, that sounds nice. You know, but it doesn't quite work that way, because the soul has to be released. And there's in the Bible where Jesus was talking to the disciples one day, and they said to him, and he said to the disciples, if your brother sins against you up to 7 times in one day, and comes and says and apologizes, you must forgive him. The disciples actually replied and said, then increase our faith. Because by the time they do it the 3rd time, you don't really believe they mean it. You know, but then another day, the disciples were talking, and Peter came and said to Jesus, how many times shall I forgive my brother who sins against me? Up to 7 times then? Because that's what he said the other day. He said, no, up to 70 times 7. And he said, in the original it says, how many times shall I forgive my brother who has sinned against me, who has offended me. You know how many times? Jesus said up to 70 times 7. There is a difference here. Now, forgiveness is a two-part process. And it is the first part of forgiveness, the definition of forgiveness. The first part means to choose to acquit the person, to choose to let it go. That's what we learn to do. Just let it go, release the person and let it go. The second part of forgiveness means to cease to feel resentment against, to let go of the offense. You see, that's the second part of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not complete until the resentment is gone and the offense disappears from your soul and your heart. And that is the part that we neglect in the walking of forgiveness. Yes, God can do anything. He can sovereignly release you from everything in one moment. But most of the time, He lets us walk the journey because it leads us to compassion, to humility, to brokenness, to love. At the end, it's a good thing. You see, so one time, we were going, Ivan and I learned this, lived it, through somebody we really trusted betrayed us very badly in a business situation, but betrayed us. It was huge, unexpected betrayal because there was an amazing friendship and relationship of trust. And this person betrayed us so badly. Now, Ivan, God bless him, he has a God-given ability to really forgive and let go from inside. He doesn't hold offense and resentment. He's been through so much healing and so much junk in the past. He has walked the walk, he's not going there again. But women, we're a bit different. We tend to hold, our emotions affect us differently. And of course, I forgave and I released because I had to. It's the right thing to do. We're Christians, we have to forgive, you have to do it. And so, out of that, I did it, I forgave him, but we lived next door to each other. And so, constantly was inside, and there was all the emotional turmoil, and the hurt, and the pain, and the whole thing. And it was really bad. And so they moved actually, not long after, but when there's a wound, they can move to China. You are still linked together to the person, and they are still present with you. And so at the end of that, a healthy bond doesn't break just because of geography. And so it wasn't there, but it was, and I kept feeling it, and I was dealing with all this, the hurt, the offense, the resentment, the pain, the whole thing was there. But I forgave him, and it wouldn't go. And so I went to the Lord, and I said, what is wrong? Why can I let it go? And on and on, and I was a leader, and I kept thinking, if I tell people I'm dealing with this, they won't trust me as a leader, so you have to hide it. Yeah, I don't anymore, but back then that's the way I was supposed to, the way we did it. And so I was in this whole thing, and then the Lord brought me that scripture, and He says, up to 7 times 7, keep on forgiving. Up to 7 times 7, for the one thing, just one thing, keep on forgiving him. And so I started. And I began to, every time, constantly, with the memory of what had been done would run through my mind, and everything would arise. And instead, what we often do is we visit the incident, we engage with it when it happens, and we relive it. That causes it to go deeper, and that gives it life within us. We have to stop engaging with the thought and the memory. No, don't recall it, don't give it life. And every time it arose, I would just say, no, I'm not going there anymore. I'm closing the door. I'm not going to think about it and remember it. I'm not doing that anymore. And I would turn to the Father and say, Father, I forgive so-and-so for doing this, and this to us, and I release it to you in the name of Jesus. At the beginning, I think I did it about 30 times every 5 minutes. Because I would do it and it would arise again. It was open, my soul was throbbing, it was there. And it would come up and it was there, it was alive. So I would just do it over and over. As soon as I would do a finish and it would arise again, I would do it again, and it would arise again, I would do it again. Over and over and over. Immediately, instead of thinking about it, I'm going to forgiving and releasing. Forgiving and releasing, forgiving and releasing. And it felt like nothing was changing for a long time. But every time you do it, you close the door to the accuser. And you open the door for the Holy Spirit to start lifting the offense, the resentment, for healing to come. So I continued. 1 year passed of every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes, every 2 minutes. It was intense because betrayal is one of the most wounding things in life. And it was so big that I had, for a whole year, it was almost all I did was forgive this man and his wife for what they did to us. Second year, still forgiving. Didn't feel that much different. And I said to the Lord halfway through the second year, how is this ever going to end? Like, is this forever? He said, no. Just keep going, it will come to an end. Forgiveness will be complete eventually. And he said, but how will I know? I said, it's very simple. He gave me a gauge for me personally in this situation. He said, ask yourself this. Would I be able to go today and have coffee with that couple and sit together around the table laughing the way we did before they did what they did to us? Could I go do that? And he said, the day that inside you can look in and say, yes, I can, that day you will know forgiveness is complete. And so I began to use that. I didn't even tell Ivan my gauge. It was between God and me. And so I continued forgiving. And every so often I would ask myself, they had moved out of town now, I didn't know where they lived. And I would ask myself, could I go have coffee with them, together the way we did, and laugh together the way we did before? No, I don't want to see them. No. And no, everything would arise, no. And instead of feeling condemned, I would just realize, it's not finished. I have to keep on forgiving until this is gone. 3 years passed, still forgiving, without being able to say, yes, I can. And 4 years. It was more than 70 times 7. But by the 3rd year, I noticed it wasn't arising as often anymore. It was weakening, it was decreasing. By the 4th year, I noticed that when I thought about it, it didn't as much. A little bit still, but not as much as before. Something was changing. The offense was lifting, resentment was disappearing. Healing was coming into my heart. And the only thing that defeats offense is constant forgiveness and releasing. Without visiting the situation, close the door, don't recall it, don't remember, don't engage. Then one day, the day forgiveness was complete, was amazing. It came into my mind again, but now it was occasionally, not as often anymore. And I forgave and released as I was doing, just was now used to doing. And I barely felt anything arising. Then in the afternoon, about 3 or 4 hours later, it came back to my mind. So I forgave and released and let it go in the name of Jesus. And I realized nothing, no emotions were arising, nothing was stirred, there was no the earth was gone, inside. And I thought, could it be possible? It's finally over. And I asked myself, could I go have coffee with them today? And sit down at the table and laugh with them the way we did before they betrayed us. And I listened to inside of me, what arose inside of me. And the answer was, yes, I can. I would actually want to. And I thought, my goodness, this is amazing. And the Lord spoke to me and said, forgiveness is complete. It's out of your soul. It's gone. That was on Thursday. On Sunday, they came to church. And they had not visited church for 3 years. They came to church, and I saw him. And I felt love, the same love I felt for him and his wife before. And I ran to hug him, and he was real. And when we hugged, for the first time, he owned up to what he had done to us that day. Because forgiveness, the releasing, the fullness of it, also released him. And he owned up to everything and asked forgiveness. Asked me to forgive him. He had never done it since then, ever. And then, this was so cool because no one knew my gauge thingy. He looked at me and said, Isabel, do you think that you and Ivan could come back to our house, have coffee with us, and laugh together the way we used to laugh together before this thing happened? And I looked at him and said, absolutely. I would love to, we would love to. And the freedom of that moment. We have never had that coffee and probably never will. I don't even know where they live. Haven't seen them. I saw them at the wedding sometime, and it was a wonderful moment of joy. But the amazing thing is, this thing is gone. There's nothing. The freedom, the healing came. My soul was free, not just the spirit. My soul got healed. The offense and emotions were gone. Now, does that mean will I do business with him again? No. I don't trust him in that area. It's different. The fact that forgiveness is gone, and it doesn't mean we have to go back to. No. His ethics and ours are different. I will not do that. But that has nothing to do with, one thing has nothing to do with the other. You see? And the complete release came. And it's a matter of walking it, because offense needs to be walked into freedom, so that all those emotions can be released from our lives. We have to learn to empty our soul on a daily basis. You see, instead of accumulating all these emotions, I'm going to teach you something, as this actually is a whole conference, and it is actually quite releasing. But it just really works. If you are in the situation when you get hurt, or you are walking through healing and forgiveness, and the emotions are there, the feelings are there, do not push them down. Do not be over spiritual. You need to be real. It is there. A hurt, resentment, regret is a horrible thing. Bitterness, trauma, shock, whatever it is that is inside of you as the emotion arises, forgive and release again, or repent if it is regret. Forgive, repent, release. We keep going back to the foot of the cross to leave everything in there. But then, allow the emotions to arise. Allow them to arise. They need to arise. Especially many times you go through in the healing, you deal with things, but then emotions are there because they get released to forgiveness to come out. They have to come out. The emotions come in and emotions need to come out, otherwise they accumulate in your soul. You can't have that. You will have bad dreams, nightmares. It will affect you so much, it will rob you. I actually have training in this field. So don't let the emotions arise. Whatever you are feeling, whatever emotion is attached to the situation, let it arise. Let it come up, let it arise, and blow it out into an imaginary balloon. It works, 100% guaranteed. Just blow it out, and you feel the anger, you feel the offense, you feel the resentment, you feel the fear, you feel the regret, you feel the emotions of the shock or the trauma. Let them arise, engage, connect with them, let them arise, don't be afraid. And you have to actually do the physical the expression. It actually works, trust me. And I start blowing the emotion into an imaginary balloon. I start blowing and blowing until you don't feel anything else anymore. And blow it. Then, tie it up. It's imaginary. Tie it up and visualize it, releasing it and letting it go. And just imagine the balloon is going up to the sky. Just give it to Jesus. Let it go up to Him. Let it go. And it could be that you finish and more comes up. Do it again. Whatever is buried inside will start coming up. As you start releasing, it will start coming up. So keep doing it. Keep blowing balloons. And it will release the emotion. Somebody hurts you right now. Your husband says something that hurt you, your friend or somebody, and you feel hurt and done. Forgive, release, let it go, and then blow that emotion out into an imaginary balloon before it can sink in. Just blow it out. And let it go. And let it go. It actually empties your soul. And those emotions go. It really works. Trust me, it works. Spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, it works. And let it go, out of your soul. It's very, very powerful. When my daughter was 13 years old, she's special needs, all my kids. And my brother-in-law molested her sexually when we were away on a ministry trip. Talk about opportunity for offense with God and everybody. People say, but how come you're serving God and He didn't protect your daughter? Like, come on, but that's what we were talking about last night. And we came back and my brother-in-law had molested her. And, it was bad. The whole situation was bad. And even what happened was even worse. And anyway, so we began to deal with it. My daughter was, with all the emotions and the whole thing that happens after you have been sexually molested. And, Ivan was praying really hard not to go kill his brother. And I wanted to punch him to death. I wanted to do something. I was angry. How could you do that when we have loved you and trusted you? Okay, so you know how that works. So the whole thing is the turmoil and the chaos of that. And my daughter is now having bad dreams at night because she's afraid and all these other things, and her moods, because of emotions. And I know what that is going to lead to. This can lead this kid into terrible depression and anxiety. We don't deal with these emotions here. We had already prayed to forgive and call so-and-so and the whole thing. But it was still there. Like these things hurt and go deep. So one day I thought, this is it, we have to do this. We have to deal with this. If we keep this here, it's going to eat us all. This doesn't work that way, so I called my daughter and we sat down in the living room and I explained to her, we have to give this to Jesus. So we are going to send this to heaven together because we have to do this and send it to heaven right now. And so we sat there and I said to her, honey, I need you to remember what Uncle so-and-so did to you. I don't want to. I said, it doesn't matter. I don't want it to hurt. It's going to hurt. Yes, unfortunately, pain comes out as pain. And anger comes out as anger, and fear comes out as fear, and trauma comes out as not just trauma. It doesn't change inside. It comes out like that. Yes, it's going to hurt again, but this time it's not hurting because it's going to go. I said, so suck it up and let's do this. And so I said to her, I want you to remember what He did to you right now. Because see, this is different than the 70 times 7 when we don't engage. We need to remember when there's to release these emotions, we need to actually connect to the memory. To stir the emotions, bring them up. I said, as long as we keep forgiving and releasing. So I said to her, remember what He did to you. How do you feel? And she started screaming and that, and then I said, yes. Okay, I need you to, what you feel, start blowing it into the balloon to Jesus. Just start blowing and blowing until you don't feel it anymore. At the same time, we forgave him. We said, well, let's forgive him right now and release it. And now release him and let's do this. And at the same time, I forgave him and I released him and I began to blow out my anger into this balloon. And then we went out to the front yard and released our imaginary balloons to heaven. We came back in, sat in, and I said to her, now let's remember again. What did you feel when you remember what he did to you? Oh, it's still there. I said, okay, it's fine. Let's blow another balloon. It comes out in portions. It's fine. Let's blow another balloon. And we did it for 2.5 hours. We blew balloons and went out to give them to Jesus as we kept forgiving and the emotions were arising and we kept sending them. After 2.5 hours, I said to her, now, how do you feel when you think about Uncle so-and-so? And she said,